Add your car to the list of places you're not allowed to light up. One New York county just passed a ban on smoking in a car if kids under 18 are riding in it. Other communities could soon follow that lead. We all know secondhand smoke is bad, but do we really need the government riding shotgun in our personal lives? Well, let's ask lawmaker Connie Coker, who sponsored the ban in Rockland County, New York, and Gary Nolan, national spokesperson for the Smokers Club Incorporated, that is a smokers' rights group. And I welcome both of you this morning to the broadcast.
Thank you.
All right, ladies first. Connie, I'll begin with you. What has been the response to this ban? Because I've got to think, well-intentioned as it may be, some people have a big problem with government intrusion here.
Well, I think the difference about this is that we're talking about children, that an adult in a car by themselves can continue to smoke. It's when the child is in a car, somebody under the age of 18. The effects of secondhand smoke are so well documented, and but the addiction is so great that adults continue to smoke in cars.
Okay, and the penalty, Connie, if someone's caught smoking with kids in the car?
It would be a fine. It is a local law. The first incident would be $75 to $150. The next time, $150 to, I think, $250.
Okay. Gary, let's bring you in here. Secondhand smoke is dangerous, although I'm going to say I've been watching your monitor in one of my REM shots here, and you your face went, I don't know about that. I mean, it is a fact.
No, it isn't a fact. Clearly, it's not a fact, and I'm going to give you some data here because I've suggested on this network and on others that people look at OSHA. But I'm going to talk, there's several things wrong with this legislation. Number one, according to the physician's desk reference, the symptoms of nicotine withdrawal are difficulty in concentrating and increased irritability. Do we really want our kids riding around in cars with drivers who are irritated? But let's look at the epidemiology, because this legislator passed a piece of feel-good legislation that at the end of the day is designed simply to make it look like she cares.
Okay.
And Littlewood and Fennell, an independent health and public policy research firm with no ties to big tobacco, did a study paid for by the government. They determined that in a 20 square foot room with a 9-foot ceiling, you would need to squeeze 300 smokers at a rate of 62 packs an hour to reach the ETS environmental tobacco smoke threshold.
Okay.
And also, one last quick quote, and this is from OSHA. It says that field studies of environmental tobacco smoke indicate that under normal conditions, the components of tobacco smoke are diluted well below existing permissible exposure limits. Mm-hmm. And they go on to say that they don't think in any workplace those thresholds will ever be raised.
Okay, here's the deal with this kind of discussion right now, and I'm just going to say, if you're going to bring on secondhand smoke and the legitimacy of it, this is the kind of stuff that makes my head explode. Common sense. Is there room for that here, Gary?
Sure, there's room for common sense, but this law doesn't allow for common sense. People coming through town...
No, hang on the law. I want to talk about secondhand smoke, because you're the one who said it. Because when I said, look, it's a fact that secondhand smoke creates problems, health problems, you said not necessarily. Really?
Right. It clearly is not the danger that the anti-tobacco extremists want you to believe. And we've got to start using a little common sense here, because if we open the door to this kind of legislation, we can start arresting and ticketing parents who...
All right, okay. Connie, I want you to respond to what Gary's saying.
Well, when the president of the Board of Health in Rockland County, Dr. Jeffrey Oppenheim, suggested that this be a local law, it was because all of the public education programs weren't really getting the job done. So this really will reinforce the notion that secondhand smoke is an extremely powerful problem for children. If you take your child into the emergency department with a respiratory distress, the first question they ask you is exposure to secondhand smoke. The rates of asthma are skyrocketing.
How difficult is this going to be to enforce?
Well, I think it's similar to the law for children in car seats. If an officer sees a child in a car with someone smoking, or a child who's not properly strapped into a car seat, they can pull them over. And it's not a misdemeanor, it's not a felony, it is a ticketed violation.
Okay. And Gary, this whole thing, how much is it an annoyance for those of you that would belong to a Smokers Club Incorporated, that it's just another place that is limiting your right to smoke?
What happens here is it goes beyond smoking, because now we can start regulating how we treat our children at home. If you're going to come into my car, you can come into my home. If you're upset about secondhand smoke, and I'm arguing that this is junk science, and so did Federal Court Judge Osteen and Congressional Research Service agreed. But if you go beyond that, Now we can maybe ticket somebody whose child is allergic to peanuts for going into Dairy Queen because the child could go into anaphylactic shock. Let's let parents raise their children, and let's keep government out. What about these people who are driving through that county from out of town who aren't aware of that? Are we going to write these people, strangers, a ticket who don't know the law?
Yeah, I don't know. I'm getting back to that whole anecdotal evidence. I'm just going to tell them right now. My father's a thoracic surgeon, and I went into surgery with him once and watched him help excise the cancerous lung of a smoker. Really not pretty. It's just my lesson of the day. I get really passionate about it. But thank you for indulging me, Gary Nolan and Connie Coker. And we'll see what happens with this and see how many tickets you have to write and the like, because the law did pass. Just want to double check, Connie, right?
It passed unanimously. All the Republicans, all the Democrats. It did pass unanimously. And now our county executive, Scott Vanderhoff, is reviewing it to determine if he'll sign on.
We will see what happens. Gary Nolan, Connie Coker, thank you so much.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Bigger paydays. Who wouldn't want them? A new survey shows some people would morally bank